I find it difficult to understand a few things about the liberal argument. And as a layman, I'm asking you to help me because without explanation, I'm always going to find a severe lack of logic and reason behind, again, the liberal argument. And I know that it's probably me. I'm just not seeing something within the liberal argument, so please help me. Let's take the recent, I believe it was the CMAs, in which Brad Paisley made a few remarks and in turn got some serious backlash, especially on social media and the internet, from the left. So Brad Paisley and Carrie Underwood, both of whom I have a modicum of respect for as singers, one of whom I'm actually quite a fan, hosted this event the other night in which they came up with this clever little ditty that expresses just how crazy the world is. Now, I know that this is a concept that both liberals and conservatives, Democrats and Republicans alike can all get on board with, right? Well, along the way, Bruce Jenner is mentioned in the lyrics in light of his recently becoming a female. I think the exact words in the song were, Bruce Jenner is a babe now. Ooh. Well, this one little line from this clever little ditty exploded with the liberals and the leftists and even the feminists, all of whom were screaming, transphobia, transphobia. But here's the funny thing. All the liberals and the leftists that made such a fuss did so only over Brad Paisley's use of the line, Bruce Jenner is a babe now. I mean, that really upset them. And that's why they were so mad. Because Brad Paisley likened Bruce Jenner to a babe. But see, okay, this is where I need help. Because, color me confused, but I thought that that was the whole point, right? That's why Bruce Jenner did what he did in order to become Caitlyn. And now, it seems that people on the left have a problem with this. I mean, if they did not want to recognize Bruce Jenner as a babe, then I could see why they'd get upset. I mean, and I wouldn't blame him either. If Brad Paisley considered me a babe in one of his songs, I might be a little miffed at him, but why Bruce Jenner? You see, I thought that people on the left supported Bruce Jenner's decision to do this. And if they actually did, if that's so, then why do they have such a problem with Brad Paisley calling him a babe? Now, one conclusion that I can draw, but again, I have to assume this because in all of the outcry, this was never mentioned, is that perhaps people on the left would prefer Brad Paisley to consider Bruce Jenner a woman, as opposed to the proverbial babe. But you see, there's one problem with this of a technical nature. And that is the fact that technically he's not a woman. Now, he might be a transgendered male, and now he might even be a transsexual male, but that hardly categorizes him as a female, much less a woman, technically. Now, I don't know about you, and I am no doctor, but when I consider a few of the primary unique differences between a male's biology and a female's biology, I don't see where Bruce Jenner, i.e. Caitlyn, has very much in common with either one of them, especially a female. Because, in order to achieve this, do you realize what Bruce Jenner had to do? He had to have his penis and his testicles surgically removed, which, according to the left, is perfectly acceptable here in the States, but if it happens out of the States, somewhere else, then they consider it mutilation. And then all of that extra skin and whatever was left over was sculpted, again, surgically, to create sort of a pseudo-vagina. But it doesn't stop there. He had to have breast augmentation done. He did what they call shaving the vocal cords to achieve a higher timbre in your voice. He had all kinds of plastic surgery done to feminize his otherwise masculine features. And now he's taking an army of artificial hormones to supplant his natural hormones. I mean, this leaves me with so many questions. Does he ovulate? I don't think he does because he ain't got no eggs, Does he menstruate? Does he go through that monthly cycle, which is intrinsic to strictly being a female? I don't know what his hygiene habits are, but I can't believe that they're strictly female hygiene practices. And what about getting pregnant? Can he get pregnant? I don't think so. And if he can't get pregnant, then he can never have a baby or an abortion nowadays. Take your pick. But, the thing is, he's never been able to do these things. And I don't believe that he can ever do these things today, right? And these are all things that I had always been taught to believe are what identify a human being as female, thus a woman. So, when liberals consider what a woman is, do they consider these things? And if so, how can they consider Bruce to be a woman? Unless one of two possibilities remain true. One, people on the left believe that Bruce does ovulate, and that he does menstruate, and that he does practice strictly female hygiene, and that he can get pregnant, and that he can give birth. But if that's what people on the left believe, then why do they have such a problem with Brad Paisley calling Bruce Jenner a babe? Or people on the left must believe that you don't have to be a woman to ovulate, menstruate, practice female hygiene, be able to get pregnant, and therefore be able to give birth. You can still be a woman without having these capabilities. But again, if that's the case, then why are they so up in arms about Brad Paisley calling Bruce Jenner a babe? And yet, they still do. So once I look really deeply into this, it leads me to yet another conclusion. One that is based on the left's argumentation and the left's platform. And it goes something like this. People on the left, liberals and feminists, are literally confused about a few fundamental elements of the truth. Like the differences between the X chromosome and the Y chromosome and things of that nature. Or people on the left literally believe that a woman is nothing more than the brand of clothing she buys, the style of pumps that she prefers, the way she fashions her hair, or perhaps the makeup she wears. And why wouldn't they believe this? I mean, they believe that Bruce Jenner, despite his natural inability to do all things womanly, except dress up real pretty, is a female. They believe that he is a woman. Therefore, they must also believe that he is a babe. So this is where you might be able to help me. Because it seems to me that this liberal argument is a fine way to crush the very essence of the very group of people that those on the left proclaim to defend and champion, being women. You see, according to the liberal argument, a woman, the idea of a woman, is nothing more than what a transgendered man's idea of what a woman should be. I mean, if you think about it, it's actually kind of interesting. True chauvinists and true sexists, those superior assholes, it seems to me that they hold a higher opinion of what women are than even liberals. Because at least a chauvinist or a sexist will consciously determine their actions based on the natural differences between men and women, or at least what they perceive those natural differences to be, right or wrong. But people on the left, liberals and feminists, they don't even do that. And that is a great way to damage women. So please, help me with this. Help me understand why people on the left have such a problem with Brad Paisley calling Bruce Jenner a babe. Because to be completely honest with you, I kind of agree with you. I don't like it either. But see, I don't know if that makes me a liberal or a conservative. And please tell me that the people on the left are not upset because those nutty conservatives consider it a crazy world when a super athlete in men's track and field who has multiple children with multiple women goes off and sexually and surgically mutilates himself only to elevate his status as Woman of the Year. I mean, come on. Just the other day, I heard a self-proclaimed Republican laugh out loud when liberals slandered his hero, Ben Carson, as a liar. Now, why can't people on the left have that same sense of humor when conservatives, people like Brad Paisley, call Bruce Jenner a babe? But seriously, help me understand this. Because until somebody on the left, gets a hold of me and tells me what the logic and the reason is behind this whole liberal argument, I'm always going to draw the same conclusion, and that is that the liberal argument is counterintuitive to itself and socially and culturally destructive to any set of people that it claims to defend and champion. In this case, women. And never mind how I'm beginning to understand they feel about men. According to the liberal argument, the X and the Y chromosome, it's not really that important. The penis and the vagina, vaguely irrelevant. In fact, men and women are exactly the same thing. Now, I don't want to go too far, but when is it going to be that the liberal argument has us believe babies grow out of the ground like stalks of corn, or at least in their perspective, like weeds? But help me understand this liberal argument, okay? And how are you going to do that? By commenting below, clicking subscribe if you so are inclined, and then like my page and even share it. Let's create a dialogue. Let's create a massive dynamic dialogue over this issue, okay? Until we do, that's 2 cents from a layman. Peace out.